Welcome to the Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by PkmnTrainerJ. Ingress Insights is a podcast about the Niantic game Ingress. Listen each week for the latest news, updates and rumours. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a voice message or emailing us at the links in the show notes.
Hello agents, welcome to episode 34 of the Ingress Insights podcast. In this week's episode we're going over the Shard Skirmish event coming up in the America region, as well as a small app update, details about Pride XM and things about the Wayfarer Challenge rewards going out. But first of all I'm going to move in, like usual, into the anomaly related news and talk about the Shard Skirmish. As I mentioned, the final Shard Skirmish for the Buried Memories Anomaly series is coming up on the 8th of June, and that's for the AMER region, and we've had the locations announced for that. With the scores being very tight at the moment, it would be helpful if you can help out your faction, either Shard Skirmish if you can get to one, or in the main XM anomalies in Kuching and Budapest on the 15th of June. So I'm just going to run through the locations for the Shard Skirmish 03, as I said, the final one in this series. So there's one in Edmonton in Canada, Quebec City in Canada, Anchorage in the US, Baltimore in the US, Bryan, Texas in the US, Eureka in the US, Fresno in the US. In fact, the rest of these are all USA unless I say so. Hilo in the USA, Louisville in US, Minneapolis, Oceanside, Providence, Richland, Santa Fe, Springfield, St. George, Tallahassee, and then we move into some other locations. So we've got Buenos Aires in Argentina, Vitoria in Brazil, Temuco in Chile, Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, Panama City in Panama, Cusco in Peru, and Paramaribo in Suriname, or Suriname, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. But those are your main final Shard Skirmish locations for Buried Memories, so if you can attend one of those, go out and do so with your faction. I did cover Shard Skirmishes in a previous podcast, but I will link to all the rules for those if you need a refresher as well. Next up, I want to mention there's been rumours and seeming confirmation from points of contact in the August-September anomalies that the next anomaly is called Shared Memories. So sticking with the memory theme on there, and it's a bit interesting to me that the current Pokemon GO season is called Shared Skies, where we have shared memories now. I didn't think they'd link up in that kind of way, but I'm glad we're kind of sticking with the memories theme. It'd be interesting to see what the final payoff is in this anomaly series and how that evolves. But yes, for now, as I said, no official confirmation from Niantic as yet, but it does seem that the next anomaly series is called Shared Memories, so hopefully you'll be able to share some memories of your anomaly attendance. Ends all the anomaly related news, so I'm going to move into some regular Ingress news and then some Ingress adjacent stuff regarding Wayfarer as well. We're moving quickly through the year and we're already in June, and this means that for Ingress, the XM that you see in the game is now Pride colours for Pride Month. The Ingress team have done this for the past 5 years or so in the game, and you'll see a various mix of colours there that you'll see in the Pride flags, so you can pick up differently coloured XM throughout this whole month. It will go off at the end of June unless anything changes. But I quite enjoy getting differently coloured XM around on the ground rather than the regular white all the time. It's something I quite enjoy, so I would look forward to picking up that XM, and I wish I could have a colour option to stick on Pride XM or Halloween XM, or maybe Enlightened Resistance XM whenever I wanted. That would be very nice for me personally. But yes, that's all around, so if you open your scanner and see it's a bit more colourful than you thought, it's why it's for Pride Month. So I'll move on now and talk about a small app update. So we got a very small app update, which was 2.142.1 on the 28th of May. And all it says for me on iOS is they updated the warning message displayed only to agents who recently signed into Ingress using a device that won't meet upcoming security requirements. This was the base of our last podcast and something we mentioned a few times about Ingress requiring Android device to have strong integrity. So you may see a slightly different message on iOS that just mentions a device rather than your device, as there's no issues with iOS having access. There's no strong integrity checks there on iOS at the moment. But there was a very, very minor update, but just one I wanted to mention. I imagine we'll have another one in a couple of weeks' time, maybe just before the main XM anomalies that are coming up. But just wanted to mention it on there, and then move in to talk about a Games Fest that Niantic always appears at. Maybe we'll see something new for Ingress there. I enjoy playing a lot of games, and I kind of miss E3 being a big thing, watch all the Nintendo Directs and things like that. I did miss yesterday's State of Play by PlayStation, because there wasn't a lot they showed in the last one that interested me, so I didn't think it was worth staying up for personally. But I want to mention that on the 7th of June, there is a Summer Game Fest 2024. Niantic are one of the partners at this, and at last year's Game Fest, they introduced some new Pokemon GO features. So perhaps they'll add in some new Ingress features and show things off for Ingress this year. It's something that may happen. I just wanted to mention it on here as a thing that was occurring. But Summer Game Fest, you can watch online live from the YouTube Theatre in LA, and that airs in my time, UK time, at 1:45 PM on the 7th of June. So tune in, you might see something by Niantic, but no promises. So I just wanted to bring it up and mention it here. This last part of the news isn't really news, but I want to mention it before moving into Ingress adjacent stuff with Wayfarer. Just about some things that we're waiting on from either last year or earlier in this year. So one of them that I want to mention is the Cryptic Memories Anomaly series. So if you remember from the blog post, they mentioned that the early intelligence suggests that the faction that wins the Cryptic Memories Anomaly series winner, which is a weird sentence, will affect a critical aspect of this reality, controlling the faction identity of Redacted. We don't yet know who this redacted person is, as far as I'm aware, unless it's something the points of contact know and haven't yet shared. But we haven't had an update from that that's been shared publicly, so that's something that's kind of a hanging thread on there. Then another one which is not really game related, but just something that I was following and posting about before, was the Ingress and Wayfarer Japanese Advent Calendar 2023. On that, Brian Rose had a slot on the 25th of December to write about something either Ingress or Wayfarer related, and I poked him on the 12th of January, and he said it was still on his to-do list. But as we're now approaching the middle of the year, I don't see an update on that. So, Brian, if you're listening, it'd be great if that got updated, just so we can finally close that off and I can post the final one of the Advent calendar 6 months later. That'd be fantastic. So, just those couple of bits that I know we're waiting on. Is there anything else that we're waiting on from previous anomalies that I've missed, or anything that you know we need an answer to? If you can let me know, that would be great, and I can include it next time. But for now, I'll move in, as I mentioned, and talk about Wayfarer related news. First of all, with Wayfarer news, I want to mention the sync has now been fixed. It was off for a few days for an unknown reason, where new way spots weren't becoming new portals on them. But this has now been fixed, so you should see the portals all popping up and your AP appearing, so that's nice. And then secondly, the Wayfarer Challenge upgrades have already been sent out. If you log into your Wayfarer account, you'll see the upgrades you've earned on there if you did enough reviews to earn upgrades. And similarly, the OPR live badge ticks have started to roll out as well. So that was if you did 500 individual reviews during the challenge for the challenge countries. You'll have a tick on there. Mine's now gone up to 2. So next challenge I should be at 3 and get a nice shiny silver badge. And that would be great for me. And then just personally, I want to do a quick update on my stats before I finish off and move into our feature as well. As I said, just a personal stat update. So I did get the Mind Controller badge for having 10,000 control fields. Next on there being 40,000 might take me a little while to get. but for myself, I'm really just edging very close to level 16. I'm on 15,837,124 out of 16 million AP required. I probably won't recurse until after the final anomaly of this season, just to see if anything else comes up that may be worth not recursing for, where I might need some extra XM in my tank on there. But as I am getting close, I'll probably do it by the end of June, if not before. I'll let you know when I do hit level 16 again. I want to do something a little different for the feature section this week and just talk about coloured XM. So we have the Pride XM at the moment for Pride Month, and that will last all of June, as I mentioned. We've also had in the past Orange XM for Halloween. However, that did hang around for quite some time after Halloween, following a poll on the Ingress forums where Niantic Thea asked people's favourite colour of XM out of Pride, Orange and White, and Orange won out by 43% versus 30% for Pride and 26% for White. So with that, it's, as I said, stuck around for a while longer, and I just wanted to say that it's nice having the coloured XM. It'd be great if we could purchase it and have it on the map all of the time. There was a comment from Niantic Brian Rose on the Ingress community forums in 2020, where he noted that in July they updated XM back to the default colour. There were many suggestions for ways to allow agents to optionally use Rainbow XM in the future, and we'll discuss this on our team. Thank you. And we haven't had anything since then, unfortunately. It's a nice thing, a bit of a change that happens every time. It'd be a nice thing to see, for example, for Enlightened winning Anomaly if the XM turned green for the next season, or if Resistance when it turned blue for the next season, or if we had a mass Machina attack, it would turn red, and that'd be a bit intimidating, perhaps, for Machina doing a bit of a fully charged attack on portals. So that'd be something I'd like to see in there. But happy to hear how all of you feel about XM colours, and whether you like the Pride XM, whether you like the Halloween XM. As you know, with me starting this podcast back in Halloween, how much I chatted then, it's one of my favourite Ingress mini events that comes up. So disappointing we didn't have it one year and didn't get a badge or anything. So I'm hopeful for this year, seeing as that'll be the podcast's 1 year anniversary as well. So I'll try and do a live one then, I think, but that's kind of talking outside of this feature, so I guess I'll move on and get everything wrapped up now. Thank you, agents, for listening to episode 34 of the Ingress Insights podcast. Next time we'll be back talking about the results of the Shard Skirmish, as well as anything else that's happened coming up to the final anomaly of the season. And I just want to mention some technical things here as well. So Spotify was going to change things in June. They've now given until the 9th of July. So you'll still hear little jingles and things like that until then. And then I'll slowly replace them all, as I mentioned. And again, if you'd like to follow the show, you can do that by Threads or Instagram under the name Ingress.Insights. You can leave us a message and answer our questions on there. I did have one question response from last week about someone wanting an interview with Thea to be on the show. So Thea, if you're listening, please do come on the show, answer any messages I've sent, and then we can get an interview sorted out. I do have a few more coming up, a few that I'm trying to sort out final dates and times for, so you'll hear more than just my voice in upcoming episodes. But that's all from me for this week, agents, so hope you have a great Sunday and happy hacking.